This week for our Misty Morning Sew Along, we're going to be making block 10. You'll make 8 of block 10, and we're going to be using fabric B. This is the second time in this quilt that we've used fabric B. It was used earlier for block number 5, so you should still have plenty of it left to make the half square triangles that you're going to need for block number 10. You're going to be making 48 half square triangles to complete those 8 blocks. So once again, just like last week, you have the option of cutting one strip 6.5 by 36 or 2 strips 6.5 by 18 in order to pair your fabrics up and then use the triangles on a roll to be able to cut your 48 pieces that you'll need for your half square triangles. Now, if you're using another method or a specialty ruler for your half square triangles, you'll just want to follow the instructions that came with your product to make the 48 half square triangles you'll need. You're also going to be using 2 strips, 2.5 by the width of fabric, and from these strips you'll need to cut 24 squares that are 2.5 inches. That's your cut size, and if you have scraps left over from previous blocks, go ahead and use those up, but you'll need a total of 24 to be able to assemble our blocks. Now this goes together just the same as all of our other blocks. You'll sew them first together in rows, create 3 rows. This is one of the blocks where we're pressing out. So this row will get pressed out, this will go in, this will go out. When you sew your rows together, they will be pressed away from each other. Just follow the little blue arrows that are on your diagram so that when we sew our blocks together, our seams will nest. Now, a little bit about my fabric. I think when I showed you originally my fabric selection, I wanted a nice shade of purple in there. And the only thing that I happened to have in my collection at that time was this piece that went very well with my other fabrics. But it's what I call an oops fabric. These were miscuts from a long time ago when I had my quilt store, and they've been in my fabric stash ever since. These are very small pieces, and because I would like to be able to use the triangles on roll paper, it doesn't even allow me to make very many of them, and it's not cut the proper size. So because I need 48 half square triangles using the same combination, I've gone ahead and went shopping. So there's a real good chance that I'm going to substitute in my color selection for these blocks one of either this solid or this print, which will coordinate as well. So if you've decided that your quilt looks a little too blue or a little too green and you'd like to substitute a different fabric in this area, you can feel free to do that as well. Now, if you were one of the people that purchased a kit that uses the fabric from the original quilt that you saw that I have completed, this is the fabric that would be your fabric B, and it has little cats on it. When I made my half square triangles, I want all of my cats standing up. So as you can see looking at the diagram, we have blocks that face 4 different directions. When you use the triangles on a roll product, if you were just making this many of them, you will have, after you've pressed them and opened them up, you will have cats that are on the top left corner, the top right corner, the bottom left corner, and the bottom right corner. So you can sort your cat prints out accordingly, and then arrange your blocks one at a time so that you can get all of the pieces right side up. And then you'll have specific blocks that go in the upper right, upper left, lower right, and lower left of your quilt. So you can arrange your cats so that they all fit in the right place on your quilt and they're all standing upright. Now, if you're not using triangles on a roll paper, then if you're using a specialty ruler, you will have to pay attention to which diagonal you cut to make sure that you get some that are cut with the cat fabric in the upper right, some in the upper left, if you're worried about the directional fabric and having all of your cats facing the correct direction. So for this week, you're going to be making 8 of block number 10 for your Misty Morning Sew Along quilt.